So you're saying that, because I was going to get to that question. So I know the winter recovery is gone, but you're basically accepting what the governor said, $100 million a year for 5 years for paved New York,
Yes.
and $100 million a year for bridge New York, because it's $1 billion, half for state, half for local. So it'd be $500 million for local for the
Yes.
bridge. Can you tell me where in this budget is that? Is this going to be dispersed through the CHIPS program?
It'll be done according to CHIPS program.
So where in the budget? Because I honestly, I mean, it was late night. We can't find anywhere in there where it line items out paved New York or bridge New York, and mentions any reassurance that this money is going to be distributed through the CHIPS program.
When the Senate Assembly and the governor get together, we'll do an MOU, and we will make sure that what you're asking happens.
So you're going to make sure $100 million goes into CHIPS?
Yes, yes.
I love you, Dan. I don't know if I could just trust that. I mean, why aren't we putting it in the budget now?
No, don't raise that, member.
But why? I just don't understand why. What do we have to do an MOU for? I mean, isn't our job to specify where that money is going from? I mean, we have local governments that are looking to us that we, have a lot of support for. The governor says he wants to support local infrastructure, and I've heard from both sides saying, yeah, there's $100 million in for the CHIPS, but there's not. It's just saying we're going to do an MOU, and I've seen MOUs come and go, and it doesn't happen. So right now in this budget, there is no money for increase into our local infrastructure. Is that not correct?
There is money. It's in a big appropriation that when you run it down, you'll see it's in there.
What big appropriation? Where is that? What
Non-federal highway appropriation.
is that someplace in the bill? Because our staff
Yes.
could not find that anywhere.
It's in the bill.
Do you know where?
No. We don't have it in front of us here.
All right.
Yes.
There's some other items in the budget I'd like to talk about too before I go back to that.
Yes.
Under the economic development portion, it says the New York Work Economic Development Fund, $199 million. It's about a $154 million increase. How does that funding work? Who's in charge of that funding? Is that money that the governor has at his discretion to spend? Is that money that the legislature has to spend? How's that $199 million how's that money going to be spent? And how does that determine?
And then you said 199.
Well, it's a $199 million appropriation according to what I read in the budget. That's a $154 million increase above last year.
Oh, okay. It will be dispersed. It will be given to the regional councils.
So that whole $199 million is going to be going right to that regional economic development councils to disperse. There's an $85 million special infrastructure economic development fund also. How is that going to? Who's in charge of that? How's that going to be dispersed?
Same way.
There's an economic development or infrastructure fund for $85 million. I guess it's in the infrastructure investment. How's that going to be dispersed?
Same way.
There's $100 million for a non-for-profit capital infrastructure fund of $100 million, which is a $50 million increase above last year. How's that going to be dispersed?
It's going to a specific site in Rochester.
Okay. Then we have the State and Municipal Facilities Program, a $1.54 billion, a $385 million increase above last year. How's that money going to be spent? Who's in charge of that pot of money? How will that money be dispersed and go out to our municipalities?
An agreement between the executive, the assembly, and the Senate.
So, in other words, is this kind of almost like a pot of money of capital that the majorities will decide how to spend with the governor that will be dispersed at their purview?
And it includes the minorities, because last year we did it then also.
Yeah, what was just out of curiosity, how much did the majority have and how much did the minority have? And
that we don't know.
Was it pretty significant discrepancy though? Is it a safe assumption it was a pretty significant discrepancy?
Next question.
All right, so it's going to be an MOU that the majorities are going to decide in concert with the governor. So Are you saying that the minorities going to have access to some of that money this time? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah, they did last time, and they will this time.
Okay, that's reassuring. Do we know how much yet the minority will have out of that pot of money?
Do we know? No details yet.
Are you taking suggestions from the minority on how to access some of that money?
Yeah, your minority leader will be able to accomplish that.
Well, I'm sure the minority leader, I don't want to speak for the minority leader, but I'm sure the minority leader would love to get suggestions to your side and the speaker on how best to spend some of that money. And we certainly look forward to sharing into that money, as you just said, that the minority will certainly have access to that. That's really kind of you, and we appreciate that, Denny. And Denny, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I know I can speak to everyone on our side of the aisle, and I'm sure on your side of the aisle, you are a complete gentleman with your time and your stamina and your energy. We have nothing but respect for you, and you do a fantastic job. So thank you, Denny, very, very much.
Thank you.
Denny Farrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
On the bill, sir.
You know, I looked through this pot of money. There's different pots of money, but you know, one thing you've heard me talk about in this chamber a lot is local infrastructure. And you know, coming into this budget process, I was pretty optimistic. And when I see an allocation for CHIPS for $438 million, when we do a 27, however you want to phrase it, a $25 billion or a $27 billion state DOT capital plan, which was about $3.5 billion over what the governor proposed, but we do not see any increase to the CHIPS program, to the base aid program. Now, I want to trust you guys, and I want to have confidence, but to say that we're going to determine that as an MOU when there's no specific line item in the budget that can point to Pave New York or Bridge New York or how that money is going to be dispersed, and we're going to say it's going to be based on an MOU, I don't know how I can go out to my local community and say, hey, there's money coming to you through the CHIPS program. I hope it does, and it should be. And the reason it should be, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, is 87% of the roads in this state are owned and maintained by our local municipalities. 52% of the bridges are owned and maintained by our municipalities. This program benefits every part of the state. A lot of people say it's upstate, downstate. No, the city of New York, the mayor's office has said the CHIPS program is very vital to their infrastructure because it gives the city, the municipalities, funding to fix their local infrastructure. That's not part of the DOT state-type plan. The comptroller did a report, $89 billion in unmet needs. You know, and when the MTA and DOT MTA agreement came out, the governor and the mayor said, you know, the MTA is the lifeline for the downstate area. And I don't dispute that. And I'm certainly supportive of MTA funding. But I got to tell you, come to some of our rural communities in upstate New York or anywhere, the CHIPS program is the lifeblood for these communities. And we're talking about safety. I know sometimes this doesn't get the attention as education does or other issues, but how many of us each and every day are putting our kids and grandkids on a school bus every morning? God forbid one of those local roads or bridges go out. And when that happens, then people are going to say we need to invest, but that's going to be too late. We got to stop being reactive to this issue and being proactive. There's a crisis waiting to happen. Our first responders, our ambulances, our police, our fire, are trying to get an emergency. If a road's out, a bridge is out, that could cost a life. Every dollar, the governor talks about property tax relief. Every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program is one less dollar that comes from the local property taxpayer. Every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program is a dollar of mandate relief. Every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program saves $6 to $14 in long-term rehabilitation costs. And anyone who says investing in CHIPS isn't about economic development, businesses locate in towns, villages, and cities. So they get off the state infrastructure and come into the local communities. And if that road or bridge is not there, that is not going to encourage private sector investment in this economy. We talk about tourism, wine country. I have more wineries in my district than any other member in the legislature. And I encourage you, please come to the Finger Lakes and enjoy some Finger Lakes wine or some of our breweries. But the fact of the matter is, what kind of message are we sending to our tourists if the local infrastructure is a mess? Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, we need to do a better job. And I do want to say, you know, to my friends and colleagues on the other side of the aisle, many of you signed on to a letter asking to support an increase in our local infrastructure through the CHIPS program. I can't tell you how much that means to me, but I can't tell you how much it means to all of our local communities. It's the right thing to do. I'm hopeful that we'll see some funding in an MOU it's hard for me to believe it because it says it's lumped in a fund. So until then, I won't be supporting this because there's no increase in the CHIPS funding. There's just talk that we're going to do that. And I think we need to do a better job. We need to do a better job on this. And when you see all this other money, $1.4 billion, that's going to be shit, we're not investing in our infrastructure. We're not investing in our local infrastructure, and it's time we do that. I'm just kind of befuddled that we do not have a CHIPS increase in this budget. It's my hope that we can continue to educate and talk about this program and act on this program because, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, this is simply the right thing to do. We need to be a partner with our local governments. With the property tax cap that is changing, it makes it very difficult for them to operate. We just increased the minimum wage on our local municipalities, too, so some of their money now has to go to pay for that. How are they going to pay and fund their local infrastructure? It's going to become more and more difficult, and the way we can help solve this problem is if we be a partner with our municipalities. Invest in the CHIPS program. This is good for farmers. This is good for education. It's good for our kids. I'm begging you, I'm asking my colleagues moving forward, please let's make a commitment to invest in our local infrastructure through the CHIPS program. Hopefully when we iron out this DOT capital plan that has more parity, that the governor and the legislative leaders say we need to make that investment back in the CHIPS because it's the right thing to do, and I urge all of us to work towards that goal. Until I see that commitment, and given what I've seen in this budget, I will be voting in the negative, and I urge my colleagues to do the same.
Ms. Meliatakis.
One question for the chairman, please. Actually, two.
Mr. Farrell yields.
This bill has $19 billion in expenditures.
Yes.
Okay, and how much of it is being paid with debt?
Two questions.
I mean, who is it? Who is it? Yeah, it's supposed to go to the MTA. How much is it? Okay. It'll be amount of $6 billion, more than it was, than the governor's number.
I'm sorry, what was the total number that's being paid with debt?
6.6
Billion? Okay.
billion.
Thank you.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
The clerk will record the vote. Just one more. One more. Are you coming to do the one, or I'm going to do? We got legislative judiciary. Huh? That's the last one, I think. What do we got? Mr. Otis to explain his vote. Do we have a? Did we do the?
Friends, good evening. I just wanted to highlight an important part of this budget that this House should be very proud of, and thank the Speaker for it, and thank the Governor for it. Last year, we created the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act, a program to give grants to municipalities so that they could do clean water projects. It creates jobs, it creates environmental projects, it lowers property taxes. Last year, we devoted $200 million towards that program. This year, we are adding, with the governor proposing another $100 million, the legislature adding another $100 million, and the governor having added last year $25 million in federal funds. We have a program that the legislature created that did not exist a year ago that now is worth $425 million in assistance to local governments to do clean water environmental projects. You should all be very proud. You should all have your municipalities apply for the grants. The EFC has done a great job in implementing the program, and it will provide good assistance around the state. Thank you for your support. I vote aye, and I also want to congratulate the Speaker and this House for the great leadership in this budget in advancing the values of the people that we represent on so many issues that have been discussed in the last few days. Thank you. I vote aye.
Mr. Otis in the affirmative. Ms. Peoples-Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to quickly explain my vote. I'm excited about this budget. People sometimes traditionally think that folks of color and African Americans don't necessarily value the input and infrastructure, but that is altogether not true. Mr. Speaker, we value it more than most, and much like Mr. Palasamo just said, our children take school buses on streets. And so we do definitely have to take care of our roads, our highways, and our bridges. I am excited by the Speaker's support to allow a community that's been disenfranchised and separated in the city of Buffalo since 1953 to have the opportunity to environmentally study the potential of reconnecting that community. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and quite frankly, thank you, Mr. Governor, too, for making this happen. I'll be voting in the affirmative.
Ms. Peoples-Stokes in the affirmative. Mr. Rea. Mr. Quart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to explain my vote. First, I want to thank the Assembly leadership for its advocacy on the 2nd Avenue subway and the capital aspect of this bill and the last budget bill. As many know, the 4, 5, and 6, the Lexington line in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the Bronx is at 120 to 130% capacity. It's a non-functioning situation for both many boroughs in New York City, but also the city in general. This bill gives us an opportunity to address that problem, both as infrastructure dollars that will go to building and continuing actual construction of the 2nd Avenue subway, which is critical not just to New York City, but to make sure that New York City remains a world capital. But what we've done here is only an opportunity. Now, the legislature has done its part, but the MTA board and Chairman Pendergrass have to do their part. The next MTA capital plan goes through 2019, and then the new plan in 2020. We now need the MTA and its board to actually put these dollars and these promises for dollars in place for actual construction so the project continues, both north and then, of course, in the next capital project, hopefully south as well. So I want to thank the Speaker and the leadership for what they've done here on this bill, but it's the beginning, not the end. Now we need the MTA Capital Board to continue what we've done here and spend these dollars on actual construction. I withdraw my request and vote in the affirmative.
Mr. Quart in the affirmative. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. I would also like to give my thanks to the Assembly leadership and especially to my colleagues for supporting the 2nd Avenue subway, a tremendously important project for the district that I represent. 80% of my constituents rely on mass transit to be able to get to work and get to school, and we currently suffer from the most overcrowded line in the country, one that has transported over 6 million people, 6 million rides on its peak time. So we know that the needs of the MTA and particularly the Lexington Avenue lines are severe and one that require immediate attention. I want to thank this body and our Speaker for taking on the initiative to make sure that we restored vital funds to be able to actually move ahead with the construction of this project, but more importantly, to do something tremendous in terms of investing in infrastructure across the state, not just in the MTA region, but also to provide for roads and bridges and for other vital infrastructure, including water, sewer, that are vital to the future of New York State and the future of our economy. So I'd like to withdraw my vote and thank my colleagues for the support and vote in the affirmative.
Mr. Rodriguez in the affirmative. Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 106, noes 21.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, sir. Can we go to page 9 of the A calendar and take up Rules Report 31 by Mr. Hasty?
Clerk will read.
Assembly Number 9695, Rules Report 31, Mr. Hasty, an act to amend the public health law.
On a motion by Mr. Hasty, the Senate bill is before the House. The Senate bill is advanced. Governor's message is at the desk. The clerk will read.
I hereby certify to an immediate vote Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote.
Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 116, noes 11.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, sir. I know people are anxious. If we just give us a moment here, we need to go to page 3 of the A calendar to take up Rules Report number 27.
Assembly Number 9001A, Rules Report 27, Budget Bill, an act of making appropriations for the support of government.
On a motion by Mr. Farrell, the Senate bill is before the House. The Senate bill is advanced. Read the last. Governor's message is at the desk. The clerk will read.
I hereby certify to an immediate vote Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
The clerk will record the vote. Ms. Robinson to explain her vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To the sponsors and staff and to all, no, I'm not going to talk about the legislative and judiciary budget. I just wanted to talk about the budget overall. Indeed, that this body has shown that families matter. And in showing that, we have added to our body the paid family leave, which allows for people to take care of their loved ones. The minimum wage allows for people to meet their obligations of food, clothing, and shelter. We talk about education that will assist our children in our schools, our brothers keepers that will help enhance and encourage young men of color to realize their full potential through health, mental health, higher education, economic justice, and the initiatives that are within the budget overall that will assist in relieving poverty. Also the shift in terms of the Medicaid, all of those initiatives in this particular budget set a historic precedent in terms of what we as a body feel about the people of the state of New York. And so this is my last budget. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to say that this is the last budget that I will be voting on. And I want to thank you all for the camaraderie and the collegiality that I have received during the course of my time here. I think that we have done a wonderful job in looking out for the people of the state of New York. And I'd just like to say thank you to all of you.
Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 112, noes 19.
The bill is passed. Whew. Earlier today, I told a gaggle of reporters that this year's budget was a budget that we could only dream of, but today our dreams became a reality. We have achieved many important things that the Assembly majority has long fought for. Minimum wage, paid family leave, middle-class tax cuts, record investments in education, which includes foundation aid, community schools, elimination of GEA, and My Brother's Keeper. We will be the first in the nation to do My Brother's Keeper. SUNY and CUNY tuition freeze, capital and operating resources, anti-poverty initiatives, and homelessness prevention, transportation and infrastructure projects, and upstate economic development programs. We prevented cuts to CUNY and Medicaid. This budget provides critical funding to assist those who are struggling to regain their footing, help workers along the path to the middle class, maintain access to quality health care, and invest in our communities. This budget would not have been possible without the commitment and dedication of all my Assembly Majority colleagues. Additionally, I want to thank each and every one of our committee chairs for their leadership at the tables. I value their significant contributions to this budget. Their expertise and leadership were instrumental to achieving a budget that is a win for the Assembly Majority and a win for New Yorkers. I especially want to thank our Chair of Ways and Means, Denny Farrell, who stood up for 2 days. I also want to thank Joe Morelli, who again through the first half of this year has been a remarkable floor leader and has taken good care of us. So I want to give a big round of applause to the Majority Leader, Joe Morelli. And to the other gentle giant in the room, our Speaker Pro Tem, Jeff Aubrey. I also want to take this time to acknowledge our wonderful staff, our Ways and Means staff headed by Secretary Blake Washington. No, I want you to stay here for a second. Our Program and Council staff led by Secretary Luann Saccone. Brian Coyne, our Director of Legislative Affairs. And then I want to acknowledge the staff that's been more personal and work with me. We have Secretary Joe Garber, Administrative Counsel Howard Vargas, Kathleen O'Keefe, our Legislative Counsel, Paul Upton, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Randy Bluth, the Commissioner of Legislative Bill Drafting, and I want to acknowledge Anita, Kim, John Knight, and Easter Puello, who are the team that helps you, I'd say, get your access to me. They take the list, so I want to thank them as well. And before I turn it over to Joe, I want to thank all of you and the staff and everybody who helped babysit me with Taylor this week. Mr. Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me also take a moment to thank all of my colleagues for your great flexibility, your patience, your good humor most of the time. And I know the last few days in particular have tried people's patience, but everyone has done an amazing job, and I'm very, very grateful. I do want to thank Jane and Tom for their partnership and their extraordinary cooperation. And of course, I want to lend my thanks to my great friend, someone I think who is one of the most distinguished members that ever served in the New York State Assembly, Denny Farrell. And so I know folks have a long way to journey. Let me just close by offering my thanks to you, Mr. Speaker. You have demonstrated amazing devotion to the members of this House over the last year and a half, in particular over the last several weeks, if you've negotiated a difficult budget. I always say, I've never hear Carl Hastie say the word I. It's always we. It's what this body is about. It's defending the values that are important to this House, your dedication, your smarts, most importantly, your great friendship. It's an extraordinary pleasure to serve along with you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also would like to give some brief acknowledgments. Obviously, the hour is late, and everybody's been here for many, many hours. But certainly, I'd like to start off with thanking our Ways and Means ranker, the ever sturdy, dedicated young man that he is. I'd like to thank Assemblyman Bob Oakes. Also, I'd like to thank the Ways and Means staff. Becky DeGotti, who heads up our Ways and Means staff, had a family emergency this past week, and our prayers are with her and her family. But in her absence, a lady stepped up and just did a terrific job leading our staff in the Ways and Means Department. And I would also like to thank and congratulate Lauren O'Hare for a job well done. Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to acknowledge, I'm certainly not going to go through all the issues that we debated over the last week, but certainly the members of our conference, led by Tom and Jane, I think really showed the passion and commitment on behalf of their constituents and our state. And this is what our role is to try to point out things where we believe public policy can be better, the things that we need to change, and I couldn't be prouder to serve with all the members of the Assembly Republican Conference and your dedication to the state of New York. I'd like to thank you. I will close on one note, though. As I mentioned, I would not go through the litany of issues and disagreements we have on this particular budget. However, I think it goes without saying that as a legislature and government for the state of New York, the process that we have encountered this week in particular has really been a disservice to the public. And the fact that I know, and we all know, that there were certain driving forces as to why this process rolled out the way it rolled out. And I don't think it was good for any member of the legislative branch. And I want to take this opportunity to again, and I think I mentioned this in January, that the legislative branch has a duty, and that's to speak up for what we believe in, and we're not here just to rubber stamp proposals that come out of the executive chamber. And so I'm just going to continue to challenge us as individuals that the public, even though this budget's done, we all had an opportunity to speak out on behalf of our districts and our conferences, but the public did not have a chance to weigh in on the final budget product. And that is just not right for them and all the interested parties across the state. And this process just has to change. We cannot continue to do this year after year after year. So I hope that we can take a lesson from this week and remember, we are the New York State Assembly. We have our voices, we have our ideas, and we should be equally heard on all of these issues just as much as the executive branch in this government. And going forward, we're going to continue to press that case because I believe in each and every one of us in this House that we've got something to offer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And let me also thank Mr. Kolb, and as you said, Brian, sometimes we don't agree, but every time you and I get on the phone, we're always gentlemen to each other. So I want to thank you for that. I was remiss. Yes, we should give Brian another round of applause. And I was remiss that I forgot to mention the communications team led by Mike Weiling. Sorry about that, Mike. And Kerry Bichette, our press secretary. And I know I mentioned it a little earlier, but I really, last weekend when I came up here on Easter Sunday, or maybe it was the Friday before, I don't remember. But I tried to walk around and visit all of the members of the Ways and Means staff and program and council. And if you think that we're tired, they have been pretty much working straight without sleeping. Some of them actually have the rollaway mattresses under their desks. And I remember visiting one, and she was actually sleeping under her desk, and she popped her head out, and she almost felt bad that she was sleeping. And I said, well, what time did you work to last night? And she said, till 2 in the morning. I said, well, it's all right to be tired, go back to sleep. But I really just want to give the staff another round of applause for the tremendous work that they've done. Mr. Morelli.
Mr. Speaker, do we have resolutions to take up?
We have many fine resolutions to take up. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolutions are adopted. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, sir. Regrettably, there will be no announcement from Ms. Schimmel or Mr. Crouch.
Except good night and travel safely, right? April Fools, right?
Unanimous consent. I now move that the Assembly stand adjourned until Monday, April 4th at 2 p.m., Monday being a session day. Drive safely.
Assembly stands adjourned.